Hello everybody, and a happy new year, belated happy new year. It's a lovely day, it's January, and welcome to
South Warwickshire Flying School.
So there's the main club room. Go up to the computer screen here. This is a very cool piece of kit. You can see one of our aircraft flying here on the screen. Looks like it's been doing approaches into Gloucester. This is Wellesbourne here. This is where it's been flying. Great view out the window. There's a briefing in progress in there at the moment. So here we have a typical Cessna 152. As you can see, it's a high wing monoplane, single propeller, fixed blades. There are fuel tanks in each wing, supported by struts. This particular Cessna was built in 1984. The flying club has 4 of these, all painted in a similar livery, and just up there there's a Cessna 172, which is a 4-seater, which we'll have a quick look at before we go. And we are very privileged to be parked next to this wonderful thing, an Avro Vulcan. So these are brilliant 2-seater trainer aircraft, very well made, and these have been running for years. They're superbly maintained. It's got a Lycoming engine, rated at 108 brake horsepower. The fuel tanks carry 24 gallons of usable fuel. That's US gallons. In here we have the oil dipstick, and you put oil in there. You've got a fuel strainer, and what that is for is you check fuel before you fly. You check the quality of the fuel and make sure it's not contaminated with water, and that comes out of there. You put a little pot under there and collect it. There's another fuel straining port here and one on the other wing. So let's have a look inside. So here you have the control yoke. You have your airspeed indicator in knots. You have your artificial horizon. There's a clock. You have your altimeter. This is an electronic navigational aid. Vertical speed indicator. Directional indicator. And turn coordinator. Down here we've got fuel primer, brake, battery and master switch, alternator master switches, ignition. You've got panel and radio lights. You've got dome light, pitot heat. I'll show you what the pitot tube is shortly. Navigation lights and beacons, etc. Here you have a carburetor heat control. Here you have the trim indicator, and here's the trim wheel. You have fuses all along here. This is the throttle, fuel mixture, wing flap controls, and there you have air heat, cabin air heat, sorry. These are all dual controlled aircraft, so there's another set of controls here. Here, excuse me, you have electrical charge indicator. You have the hours on the engine indicator, and here you have an RPM indicator. Here's a Garmin 430 navigational aid, GPS and radio, and here is a Garmin transponder. This is internal radio controls. Excuse me. Underneath, I'm sure whether you can see, rudder pedals either side, and just here is a fuel shut-off valve. There are air inlets here, letting fresh air, and there is an old-fashioned compass just here. So I thought I'd do a bit of an introduction video on the Cessna 152, not going into too much detail, but just showing you what the controls are, what it's all about. These are the main airplane that I tend to fly. I do fly the Cessna 152 occasionally. So over this coming year, I'm hoping to do a few more films flying the 152s and the 172s. The 152 cruises around about 90 knots, and as I say, it has fuel capacity for 24 usable US gallons, and it burns roughly 6 gallons an hour. So it's got a good range. From here at Wellesbourne, in the heart of Warwickshire, you can be in the Isle of Wight in about an hour. You can be in the Isle of Man in about 2 hours, and you can land at Le Touquet in France in approximately 2 hours. So it's a wonderful machine. So I'll just show you outside a little bit more. So here we have the pitot tube. We have static air vents. I'm not going to go into too much detail about what all these do. I'll go into a bit more detail as I fly it. You can see the leg extensions here, and this is all controlled by these push rods here for the directional control. Let's have a look at the wheels here. These are sprung steel legs, and you see the brake discs are exposed. That's good because you can check them. You can check there's not leaking any brake fluid or anything. And before flight, you can see they've got these yellow marks. They're called creep marks. So you always want to make sure that they're aligned, that there's no slippage on the wheel, on the tyres before you take off. That's just one of the many checks you do. One of the things that people always ask about is this little hole here, and this is basically a stall warner input, and if you're stuck on it, it makes that screaming noise in the cockpit, and it warns you that you're about to stall. And if you're wondering where you put the fuel in, if you look on the top of the wing, you can see the red fuel caps, just one side there and one that side over there. And I think you'll agree with me that these are beautifully maintained aircraft. So as you can see in the back, there is a small baggage area, nicely carpeted. And in the back here we've got a fire extinguisher, first aid kit, etc. These aircraft are certified for spinning, and I have actually been for a spin in one of these. But when you're training and learning to fly, there's a lot of effort put into avoiding spinning, but that's a whole different chapter altogether. So let's have a quick look at the 172. As you can see, it's similar shape but just bigger. This is a very well maintained aircraft as well. Similar colour scheme, and it does look good. Let's have a look inside. So this is a look inside the 172. Similar layout, similar instruments, it's just bigger. Lovely leather seats, 2 seats in the back, and then there's a baggage compartment at the back. And I'll go into a bit more detail about this perhaps next time I fly it, if I make a film of that. But you can see a very similar layout, same instruments really. It also has a Garmin navigation suite. I think this is the 530, bigger screen, works very similar to a 430. And then you've got the transponder here. I just thought I'd show you the inside of this fantastic aeroplane. So here's the airfield, some aircraft parked here, it's a taxiway just here, right in the distance, and you can see on this camera or not, is the control tower, and there's a really nice cafe up there that does great breakfasts. And the main runway runs this way, runway 18 and runway 36, and there's a shorter runway that runs slightly parallel. There's a big fight to keep this airfield open at the moment. Developers want to take it over, like many airfields in the UK. It's a damn right shame, because this is a fantastic airfield and very active, as you can see. That's one of South Warwickshire Flying School's finest, taking to the air as we speak. So yeah, as I say, the airfield is under threat. There is a big campaign. The businesses on the airfield lost the original court case, and it's gone to appeal. The appeal hearing is actually next week in Birmingham Crown Court. So we'll have to see how that goes. Fingers crossed for everybody, because it's such a fantastic asset for the area. You know, that's a whole different film altogether, me moaning about things like that, developers, etc. But yeah, best of luck for the appeal hearing, everybody. Wellesbourne Airfield was constructed by RAF Bomber Command in 1941 for the training of bomber crews, and was equipped with Wellington bombers. Indeed, crews from here went on some of the first 1,000 bomber raids to make up the numbers, even though their training was not complete. Crews died here at Wellesbourne in training. Now it is a thriving GA airfield, and indeed the jewel in the crown for Warwickshire aviation, serving good breakfasts and bacon sandwiches in the canteen. There is an active organisation to save the airfield, which is currently under threat, headed by all the businesses, for which we well and truly wish them all very good luck. So I'm with Ray Stock, Chief Flying Instructor here at the Flying School. Hi Ray.
Am I saying hi to everybody?
You're saying hi to everybody. How long have you been instructing for?
This will be my 12th year.
Okay, and before that you had a long career in aviation, didn't you?
British Airways, yeah. Well, I instructed for the airline as well, but this was pretty well completely different.
Yeah, which one do you enjoy the most?
Well, not right now. I enjoy this flying. Is more satisfying. The actual flying bit is more satisfying, and the instructing, it's a bit equal, because the British Airways one was quite complicated, but that gave me satisfaction. This is more basic, but I can see results much more face to face.
And when did you have your first flight? When did you know you wanted to fly?
Well, Daddy, Dad was a pilot, and he used to take us kids with him.
Yeah.
So even before I was 10, I was a passenger on that.
Yeah.
Developed the liking. So when I was old enough, I went flying myself.
And if you thought of one attribute which you need to be an instructor, what would that be, do you think?
You need quite a lot of patience,
Yeah.
And you need the ability to put yourself in the position of the person you're teaching. So then you know how best to put it across. So you need to, I guess you need to be a pretty good observer of people's behaviour, habits, and
Well, you must have a lot of patience, because you never actually shouted at me when you were
well, yeah, people kindly say that about me. They always say, you've got a lot of patience, Ray. And I do, but it's not limitless. There are limits.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you lose your temper, it's counterproductive.
Brilliant.
So that rarely happens. And if it's getting closer, then I'll just make a bit of distance between me.
Okay. So you've never asked anybody to leave the aircraft then?
No, it's never come to that, or vice versa.
Well, thanks, Ray, for that.
All right.
And enjoy the rest of the day. So this is Rodney. Rodney's the principal of the school. He's eating fish and chips. It's Friday.
Yes.
So, Rodney, how long have you been the principal here?
I've been here now, just coming up to 30 years.
And you were a career soldier before that, weren't
I
you?
was indeed.
And I believe that you are the last male member of your family to stop serving in the army for 200 years.
Yes,
Is that right,
exactly.
correct?
Just over 200 years.
Wow. And
Like him.
so how come you went from being in the army to running the flying school then?
Oh, well, you see, I always flew
Ah.
as a private pilot.
Ah,
I
okay.
became a commercial pilot on my resettlement.
Ah,
I
okay.
ended up coming here.
Fantastic. And what is the major, shall we say, challenge about running a flying school?
Oh, well, I don't think there's much challenges. As I enjoy flying, I enjoy being in the flying school.
Excellent. We won't mention the fight to save the airfield, because that could be an hour's conversation anyway. But I think the flying school's got a very good reputation, hasn't it? And you have a lot of
I think
air
in the
cadets
United
here.
Kingdom, yes, it has. We hope it continues for many more years to come.
And if you, when you're running a flying school, what are some of the major pitfalls that some people can get into, do you think?
In running a flying school,
Yeah,
yeah, well,
because a lot of people go
they've got
bust.
to have a sound base. If they do everything according to the book
Mm.
and carry out their procedures according to CA rules and operations manual, and they don't diverge from there, and they look after their members, the most important thing with all, they'll have success in running any flying school.
Yeah, and you only have to look at the aircraft here to see how well they're maintained and looked after. And
To make certain the aeroplane's a good fleet,
mm,
it's owned and operated by the flying school.
yeah,
And you know, dealing with our maintenance organisations, having an engineer on site, on board all the time, it keeps the fleet going, and part of running a good flying organisation.
Excellent. Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you, Anthony.
Well, a bit of a result. It's a bit murky. Dave, one of the members here, has asked if I want to go fly and do some circuits, so we're just going to go up and do some circuits. I'll see you in the aeroplane. Do you remember what to do, Dave?
Yes.
Well, we're a fantastic day. I came just to do a quick film, really, just to show people what it's like here at South Warwickshire Flying School, and just have a quick look inside one of the 152s, and ended up staying here all day, as you normally do when you come to places like this, don't you? But it's been a fantastic day. Managed to go up and get a flight with Dave, which was a real bonus. I'm going to go home now. As I say, it's been a really good day. The light is really bad, it's really murky. What time is it? I can't see, it's about 4:30. And thank you very much for watching. It's much appreciated. And can I thank all those people who subscribe to the channel? All 21 people at the moment. It's really appreciated. Thank you very, very, very much. But yeah, onwards and upwards. And here's to 2019. And as I say, a belated Happy New Year to everybody. And thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you.